Good morning, y'all. Hey, it's Leanna here. I know it's been a minute. I just want to let y'all know I was in the process of selling a home, purchasing a home, and then some other personal things was going on too. So it's been a little minute. But I do have something very important to share this morning. And it's going to be in John 8. And we're going to start at verse 1, and we're going to go through to 11. Alright, so it says, "But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Now early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, 'Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say?' This they said, testing him, that they might have something of which to accuse him of. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his fingers, as though he did not hear. So when they continued asking him to raise himself up, and said to them, 'He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first.' And again he stood up and wrote on the ground. Again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one, being with the oldest even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, and a woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had raised himself up and saw no one but the woman, he said to her, 'Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?' She said, 'No, no one, Lord.' And Jesus said to her, 'Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more.'" So I just want to point out a few things. There are people, the scribes and the Pharisees, right? There are those out there that are going to try to condemn you, that are going to try to point out every flaw you have as a human being, right? But just know that Jesus forgives you. He does not condemn us. He forgives us. In the same token, he doesn't condone our sin. So he does ask us to quit sinning, which is go and sin no more, right? So I just want to give you a little glimpse of hope there, that though you're going to have those that are going to try to condemn you, try to crucify you as they did Jesus, talk about you, stab you in the back, accuse you of lies, all the things, right? So though you're going to have all of that, just know that the one that truly matters is Christ and what the Trinity feels about you. So try not to let what others do or say have a huge impact on your life, because ultimately they're not the ones you're trying to prove yourself to, or not really prove yourself to. They're not the ones that you are, they're not the ones you should be worried about and concerned about. They're not the ones you're living for. They're not the ones that have called you. They're not the ones that have given you purpose. So what they think and feel about you doesn't matter. I know that sounds pretty harsh, right? Like first thing in the morning. But it's really not. It's actually pretty freeing to know that what others have to say about you, it doesn't matter. And then there was one more thing, Jesus had a way of saying things that would really get people thinking, right? So he said that he who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. Well, none of us are without sin, right? Though personally, though we as humans tend to think, well, if I lie or if I steal, that's not as bad as murdering somebody. But all of it is a sin against God. So none of us are without sin, so we really shouldn't be throwing stones at anyone. We should be working on ourselves. And that's me included. Anything I say on here, I'm not just saying to y'all. I'm saying to me. I'm saying to me first. But again, just put God first. Worry about what he has to say about you in your life first. And he will give you the strength to get through any of these trials and little tribulations that are going to come. And just go and sin no more. Love you guys. Have a great Sunday. Bye.